Happy Halloween, everyone. So, I was scrolling through both my laptop and PS5 as well as the Switch to see what game I could possibly do for this special occasion. So, I thought I would review two games that connect in terms of plot and are both YouTube classic horror games. So, for this Halloween special, welcome to my double review of Slender the 8 Pages and Slender the Arrival. Enjoy the show. Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new double review. Tonight's double specials are Slender the 8 Pages and Slender the Arrival. Both games are first-person survival horror games developed by Parsec Productions, with Arrival also being co-developed by Blue Isle Studio, who also published Arrival. 8 Pages was released for Windows and OS X in June of 2012, while Arrival was originally released in March of 2013 for Windows and OS X, but nowadays you could get it on home consoles such as the PlayStation 3, the PS4, the Xbox 360, the Xbox One, the Wii U, and the Switch. Both games are based off of the internet folklore of the Slender Man, created by Eric Knudsen, aka Victor Surge, on the website Something Awful in 2009. Now, the way how I first discovered both games are via Smosh Games when Anthony Padilla was still a part of Smosh, in 8 Pages case at least, and I believe either Markiplier or PewDiePie in the case of Slender the Arrival. Both games did manage to scare the hell out of me as a kid, but now here I am. I am ready to tackle both games back to back. So, here's the question. Are these games any good, and are they something I could recommend to you? Let's find out. Starting with Slender the 8 Pages. So the plot of Slender the 8 Pages is very minimalistic, but with the power of Google and the Slender fandom wiki, this is what I could gather. So the plot is that Kate is being chased by the Slender Man while searching for 8 pages. Why in the fuck would you look for pages in a place like this and at a time like this is beyond me, but hey, that's horror protagonist cliche 101. The protagonist must be an absolute dumbass. And I'm not kidding here when I say minimalistic, I mean very minimalistic, which does take tons of time off my hands, where we could jump right into the gameplay. So the gameplay of 8 Pages has us in control of Kate, and name of the game is lightly jog, sprint, collect pages, do Morse code with our flashlight to keep ourselves from falling asleep, get jump scared by the Slender Man, and die. I am going to be completely honest, this game is quite difficult. Very difficult, in fact. Now, it's not American Castlevania 3 levels of difficulty, but you have to admit the game's pretty challenging. To me at least, I think that's what brings people to keep trekking through this game. It's the thrill and the challenge to get all 8 pages. Now, I unfortunately couldn't find the download link to play Slender the 8 Pages, so most of the footage by me you've been seeing is from the original version, simply called Slender. Now, what's the difference between this and 8 Pages? Well, extra game modes are unlocked once you've beaten the game. One of them is daytime mode, where it's pretty obvious, and the hilarious $20 mode, which has unfortunately been cut from the game because of the DMCA. Visually, for a game in 2012, this looks okay. Keep in mind this was made in the Unity engine, but to me, I think the mediocre visuals play great to the game's overall atmosphere. Much like what Faf9 said in his Rise and Fall of Slender video, tension is built through the overall graphics. Much like the OST. Now, it starts off with nothing but your footsteps and the occasional cricket chirp and hooting owls, but as you collect the pages, the music builds with layers, starting with a low booming sound followed by an eerie piano, and once you get the 8th page, it's dead silence. So overall, the OST is pretty damn fitting. Now, let's recap. There's no plot in the slightest, gameplay is challenging but replayable, visually it is a tad dull, but I think that helps with the game overall, and OST is also pretty fitting. So here are my closing thoughts. Overall, while Slender the 8 Pages was a viral sensation back then, nowadays I consider this, at best, the game most enjoyable with friends. I mean, look at the videos on Smosh Games. I consider that fun despite both Ian and Anthony ready to shit themselves. But overall, I give Slender the 8 Pages my score of a 6.5 out of 10. But we're not done yet because we still have Slender the Arrival to look at. So Arrival's plot takes place after the events of 8 Pages, where we play as Lauren, who is a friend of Kate. We go to her house, pick up a flashlight, and discover that there's something sinister afoot. We then start the next chapter, simply titled The 8 Pages. Collect the pages, go into a mine shaft, turn on generators, all while getting chased by this bitch. This is the Chaser, and this game plays off of another bit of the Slender mythos with the introduction of proxies. Simply put, proxies are basically Slender minions, and after the events of 8 Pages, Kate got turned into the Chaser. Anyways, escape the mines, play a tape to expand the backstory of another character, this time Charlie Matthewson. We then play another tape, this time it's Kate in her home. After the tapes, we then discover that Kate is said to have burned down her house, which in turn caused a forest fire to occur. We make it through the fire and flames into what looks like a radio house. We then get captured by Charlie and presumably killed and taken by Kate, ending Slender the Arrival. So that was Arrival's plot. Overall, this is definitely a much bigger game compared to 8 Pages, and I think the plot for a game that is only an hour long, it has intriguing lore, but in all honesty, I think that's all it has going for it. We never explored the relationship between Lauren and Kate outside a few bits of optional dialogue when we head to Kate's house, which are, like I said, optional. But with the story out of the way, let's cover the gameplay. So Arrival has us in control of 3 playable characters, Lauren, Kate, and this one-off character named CJ, and name of the game is Walk, Sprint, Collect Shit, Do Shit, and Die. I'm just gonna be blunt here, I think the gameplay is incredibly samey and repetitive. I mean, it's obvious as early as the second chapter where it's just a retread of the original game. Chapter 3 just changes pages with generators, and while yes, I do find the concept of having 2 creeps after your ass to be interesting, it doesn't change the fact that this is basically the same gameplay style. The chapter where we play as Kate in her house is also the same, except we close the doors and windows, which means jack all because Slender Man could just teleport into that house anyways, so what's the point of all that in the first place? Overall, the gameplay is just insanely samey and insanely repetitive. People could call the Wolfhawk section in Sonic Unleashed repetitive, but I think this is just as, if not more repetitive than that. Visually, however, this is definitely a step up from 8 Pages. Arrival still uses the Unity game engine, but I honestly thought they used the Unreal engine for this. I mean, look at this game and compare it to something like, I don't know, Outlast? They both look like they were used in the same engine, and I especially love how Slender Man himself looks in this game, with how some of his suit flows in the wind, and especially his model overall. This is easily my favorite look for the character. And OST wise, I mean, it's very atmospheric just like the previous game, which isn't bad, but in chapter 2 you could tell they just reused the previous eerie music from 8 Pages. But some of the new tracks, like when you're about to enter the mines in chapter 3, are still pretty chilling, all things considered. Now let's recap. I think the story is okay, gameplay is insanely samey and repetitive, visually it's a definite step up, and OST, it's meh. So here are my final thoughts. Overall, I do consider Slender the Arrival the better out of the 2 games I've covered today. From a better and interesting plot, great lore, and good atmospheric music, I do suggest you get this. I do recommend getting the Switch version, especially since you could take it on the go, but if you're a completionist, then go get the game on other platforms. But overall, I'm giving Slender the Arrival my score of a 7 out of 10. But of course, I want to know from you all, did you play either Slender the 8 Pages or Arrival? If you did, which one did you enjoy, and are they something you would recommend to a friend? Leave your answers and more down in the comments. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and while you're here, consider subscribing and turn on the bell to be notified whenever I make a new video. As always, my social media links are down below. I've been Harker, and I will see you all in the next video, and I wish you all a very happy Halloween. Take care, everybody.